Hey, good evening and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ken, and this is Freedom Speech and You. And we'd like to welcome Aaron as our first viewer out there. And we hope that the other viewers will join us shortly. We're going to get the show warm up started and just welcome you. So glad to see you out there, Aaron. We'll see if everybody else joins us. I'm sure they're probably settling in for their Sunday evening. And hopefully you had a great day today. I'm struggling over here with the computer to my left. What looks like you're right, since when I point it, looks like I'm pointing to my right shoulder when I point that way, but I'm really pointing over the left. So anyway, I'm struggling with the computer that's supposed to present the content for tonight's show because it didn't get turned on soon enough today, and it's just like, I'm not happy yet. So be that as it may, I may have to just read the content from my phone. And, when that decides to work, then I will present more content. But let's just talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. So the topics that we're going to talk about tonight, besides the ones that you bring to tonight's show, are there is a status that has former President Obama, and he gives a very good speech. Hey there, Trucker John, welcome. So hopefully that computer will be ready to play that shortly, and if not, I will go blind on this computer and just play the content, so I won't be able to see your comments if I have to play them from this computer. But there is a video by President Obama that you all need to see. There is a statement on Twitter by Bob Cesca, and the statement reads as follows. I reported about a dozen accounts for blurting the N-word on Friday. Twitter replied the same each time, no violation of Twitter's terms of service. The racial slur reporting category is totally meaningless. Yes, I would tend to agree with you there, Bob Cesca. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't seem to get Twitter's notice. Okay, the other thing that we were going to talk about is when asked to condemn anti-Semitic comments about Josh Shapiro and his association with white nationalist platform, Gab, G-A-B, Mastriano's wife steps in and says, we probably love Israel more than a lot of Jews do. And that's a quote. So that is in reference to something else that Ron Filipowski is retweeting. So we will hopefully see that tonight. The topic that I was going to bring up tonight is that the Trump team received subpoena from the Jan 6 committee. So the lawyers are basically receiving the subpoena and agreeing to service the subpoena. So that means that they're going to have to deal with that case. So we'll look at that from Politico. There is a topic that Jim the Geek had about the InSight lander detects stunning meteoroid impact on Mars. So I accidentally labeled that as something to do with DART, but that's different. This is actually the impact lander on Mars. So my bad, got him confused a little bit, but Jim the Geek mentioned that he wanted to possibly deal with that. And of course, Jolie apologizes that she will not be with us tonight. She's out with family. So the show is up and running. Wes shot me a couple of things. I know he's not here yet. But Wes asked the question, is all communication progress? Is all communication discourse? because he puts ... between the words progress and discourse. Arguments, legal and otherwise. Debate. Can verbal fighting ever be good? And then he also put, do we care that much about Twitter? So, not sure what he means by all of that. Maybe he'll jump in tonight and talk with us. So, good to see you out there, Trucker John. Good to see you out there, Aaron West. Crystal Anderson says that she will not be with us tonight. So she's not feeling up to the show. And we welcome Andrea to the chat. And so let's see if the computer will behave now that we've discussed what it is we want to talk about tonight. So we'll see if it's beginning to behave. Because the presentation computer is just not really running efficiently yet. Wasn't turned on early enough. So let's see if it will work tonight. And if not, I'll have to restart it. So let's see. Okay, so go back to the first topic, which is President Obama, and bring that up. Okay. So it's slowly coming up on my computer over here. You can't see it yet. So I paused it, pulled it back. Now let's see if I can present it yet. Thank you, Aaron, for the Patreon link there. So sharing the screen. Let's see if this works. Okay, it's up on the screen. Now if I can get it to be full screen. See the volume level is all the way up. Let's see.
Some of you here are on Social Security. Some of your parents are on Social Security. Some of your grandparents are on Social Security. You know why they have Social Security? Because they worked for it. They worked hard jobs for it. They had chapped hands for it. They had long hours and sore backs and bad knees to get that Social Security. And if Ron Johnson does not understand that, if he understands giving tax breaks for private planes more than he understands making sure that seniors who've worked all their lives are able to retire with dignity and respect, he's not the person who's thinking about you and knows you and sees you, and he should not be your senator from Wisconsin. I mean, the message he's sending is pretty clear. If you're related to him, if you donate to his campaign, you get a deal. If you're not, you're out of luck and you're on your own.
Okay, so Casper, welcome to the live stream. Going to repeat this since you just joined us, Casper, so maybe you didn't see it. I'd like to see that one more time. So here we go. And I'd like to thank Andrea for reminding us about this clip because I saw it earlier this week, loved it, retweeted it, and then forgot about it for tonight's show. So thank you very much for bringing this one to our attention, Andrea.
Some of you here are on Social Security. Some of your parents are on Social Security. Some of your grandparents are on Social Security. You know why they have so? They worked hard jobs for it. They had chapped hands for it. They had long hours and sore backs and bad knees to get that Social Security. And if Ron Johnson does not understand that, if he understands giving tax breaks for private planes more than he understands making sure that seniors who've worked all their lives are able to retire with dignity and respect, he's not the person who's thinking about you and knows you and sees you, and he should not be your senator from Wisconsin. I mean, the message he's sending is pretty clear. If you're related to him, if you donate to his campaign, you get a deal. If you're not, you're out of luck and you're on your own.
Okay, so I'd like to apologize for the drop frames in tonight's video. Obviously, the computer that's playing that back is having a lot of trouble playing it. But if you didn't hear what the former president said, what he basically says is that Johnson's running. He is saying that, you know, tax breaks and all these things are so important, but he's also running a platform that basically tells you that he's going to wipe out the existing Social Security. And you got to believe that once they take away Social Security, they won't ever give it back to you, because they didn't give it to you in the first place. It was not the Republicans that gave you Social Security. It was the Democrats. So you don't want to get rid of Social Security because you'll never get it back. And if you have relatives, that's what former President Obama is saying, who depend on that Social Security, they're not going to get it back if you elect Republicans. So you better not do that. Okay? So, see, my computer's putting stuff up I do not need. So hang in there. Not sure where that's coming from. Sometimes Windows puts up these fancy things that you just don't need in the middle of a show. And now I'm trying to figure out how to make it go away. There. Okay. Went away. Good. All right. So the next clip. Well, the next clip is not really a clip. It is something I read earlier, but some of you were not here, so I will bring it up. Because the next clip is actually a tweet from Bob Cesca, and it is in response to another tweet, so it behooves us to bring it up. So give my computer a couple of seconds here. Going to take a little while. Okay. So how's everybody feeling this Sunday evening? So let's do some clicks and present this. It's coming, slow but sure. Got 4 of you on YouTube. Great to have all of you here tonight. Just wait while this computer decides to load the tweet from Bob Cesca. And if it won't, then I'm going to have to do it on the other computer. Yep, it's being a slow transition. So probably have to do it on this computer. So let me come back and look real quick. Okay, it hasn't come in. It might come in while I'm trying to click it in from this other computer. So it's going to come in. There it comes in finally. It's thinking about it. Okay, there's the tweet. Let me adjust the size of the screen. And pull myself down into the small corner. So the tweet is by Bob Seska, and it says, I reported about a dozen accounts were blurting the N-word on Friday. Twitter replied the same each time. No violation of Twitter's terms of service. The racial slur reporting category is totally meaningless. And he is retweeting a tweet by Scott Galloway, which says, new data, increase of N-word mentions has been 13,000%, peaking at 170 mentions every 5 minutes. Elon has said nothing to quell this, and he points to another tweet of his own. So let's see what happens when we pull that tweet up. Okay, he went on. So today it was up 1,300%, peaking at 170 mentions every 5 minutes. But yesterday, the use of the racial slur on Twitter increased 500% in the 12 hours after Musk's deal was finalized. And the data is from the Network Contagion Research Institute, NYT. So, yep, very disgusting. So, stop sharing that and bring that back. And go back to the next topic. And I note what you say there, Casper, that the clocks went back there last night. And I think, Casper, you're in Australia. So you're on the UK summertime. No, you're on Australia. Yeah, UK's already gone back. They went back last month. That's right. Okay, the next topic. And all these topics so far have been from Andrea. So thank you very much, Andrea, for doing the research. So this next one is a video. I need to pause that and rewind it before I bring it up. So present the video. So this one is from Ron Filipowski. And bring that up to full size. And bring this up to full size. So maybe not both of them to full size. Maybe that'll work better. Yeah, that probably works better. Okay. So this is a video clip. There was a description of this. Let me read the description first. I think I have Discord open on both computers, so I can go back to this computer to read the description. So Ron Filipowski's description of this video is, when asked to condemn anti-Semitic comments about Josh Shapiro's when asked to condemn anti-Semitic comments about Josh Shapiro and his association with white nationalist platform Gab, Mastriano's wife steps in and says, quote, "We probably love Israel more than a lot of Jews do." So I'm guessing that's what the video is going to be.
Your rival's Jewish school and previous associations you had with Gab social network.
Yeah, so I would like to make a
Please.
comment on that real quick.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say, as a family, we so much love Israel. In fact, I'm going to say we probably love Israel more than a lot of Jews do. I have to say that because, and the reason why I say that is because I've given, and Doug, we've given for, I would say, at least 10 years to outreach to Israel and Jerusalem. I have visited Israel, we say, for 5 years. We're just an average family. We're not wealthy people.
Your rivals, Jewish school, and previous associations you had with Gab, social network.
So what do you think about that? When a candidate can't even give an answer and the candidate's spouse gives the answer instead and says that whatever they're saying, whatever they're doing, their association with anti-Semitic groups is okay because they made donations. What do you think about that? Yeah, exactly, Jim. Nothing like pouring gas on the fire. Trucker John asks if we should all move over to Tribe instead of Twitter. Yeah, I don't know, Trucker John. I'm not eager to abandon Twitter because I don't think that we should allow Elon Musk and those who have conspiracy theories to just have the platform to themselves and, expand the conspiracy theories. I think we should stay. I think that the truth deserves to remain on a platform unless the platform itself pushes off all the truth. So if the platform pushes us off because all they want to be is another version of Truth Social, then I can't stay. If they deem the honest, decent, real truth as being false information and kick me off, then I'll cease to exist on Twitter. Otherwise, I'm staying. So as long as I don't have to pay somebody like Musk to exist, to be there, so that he can turn around then and use that money to run a big campaign of disinformation, then I'll stay. That's my feeling on it. So what's the other? We just played that video. Okay, the next one comes from myself and is based on one of Andrea's suggestions last week. But this is also a retweet. So this is about the Trump team receiving the subpoena from the Jan 6 committee. So sorry about that. And you guys are still discussing the tribal. And what point did I miss? The point about Twitter? Is that what I missed, Andrea? Not sure what point I missed. Trucker John says, I think we should keep posting good liberal content. Yes. Okay. So Trump team received subpoena from Jan 6 committee. And of course, my scrolling is going to take off all of a sudden. A person familiar with the matter confirmed that attorneys for former president agreed to formally receive the committee's summons. Attorneys for Donald Trump have accepted service of a subpoena issued by the Jan 6 Select Committee demanding documents and testimony from the former president by next month. Okay, I'm not going to read this line because I just said it. Matthew Sarlson, an attorney with the Dillon Law Group, which is representing Trump in his dealings with the committee, accepted service of the subpoena on Monday. A Trump spokesperson did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The Jan 6 panel wants Trump to provide relevant documents by November the 4th and appear for a deposition by November 14th, though neither deadline is likely to hold. Trump has given no public indication about whether he will challenge the subpoena in court. A process would all but ensure he never testifies before the panel. The video in the link is the video of them voting to issue the subpoena. But Harness Dillon, the top lawyer at Dillon Law Group, has retweeted multiple posts attacking the committee's subpoena. In a statement last week, fellow Dillon Law Group attorney David Warrington criticized the committee for publicly releasing a copy of the subpoena. Okay, so Andrea is reiterating what was in the video to condemn anti-Semitic comments about Josh Shapiro and his association with white nationalist platform Gab. Mastriano's wife steps in and says, quote, "We probably love Israel more than a lot of Jews do." Okay. Yeah. I think that's all there is to that article. There's not a whole lot to that article, but the main thing is that the lawyers have received the subpoena, so they are going to have to look at the subpoena, and something will have to happen from that. Either they will advise Trump not to speak, or they will represent him. So that remains to be seen what happens. Andrea says, that's what she said in the video I sent you, just showed it wasn't the fact that she stepped up. She said, we love Israel more than the Jews do. Really, they are Jewish. So the point is that they themselves are Jewish, and it's disingenuous of them to say that they love Israel more than the Jews do. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, it's kind of disingenuous for them to act as though they're not Jewish, to try to disassociate themselves with Judaism, acting as though they're not Jewish so that they can garner votes from people that wouldn't support them if they knew they were Jewish, I suppose. Yeah, now I get it. So, okay, so that was the other one. Now there is a thing that Jim submitted for my review. And this is something that Jim sent me. It is about the NASA InSight lander detecting stunning meteoroid impact on Mars. And I misassociated this with DART because I didn't really read the title in full earlier on our founding viewer Discord, so gotta forgive me for that mistake. But I'm going to bring this up and talk about this tonight. So we like to talk about space and things that are found. So the article is about a meteorite impact on Mars. And you see that in the picture. And what you can't read at home is about the description of the picture. Boulder-sized blocks of water can be seen around the rim of an impact crater on Mars as viewed by high-resolution imaging science experiment camera aboard NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. The crater was formed December 24, 2021 by a meteoroid strike in the Amazonas Plantia region. Photo credit is NASA JPL, Caltech, University of Arizona. The agency's lander felt the ground shake during the impact while cameras aboard the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter spotted the yawning new crater from space. NASA's InSight lander recorded a magnitude of 4 Mars quake last December 24th, but scientists learned only later the cause of the quake. The meteorite strike estimated to be one of the biggest seen on Mars since NASA began exploring the cosmos. What's more, the meteorite excavated boulder-sized chunks of ice buried closer to the Martian equator than ever found before, a discovery with implications for NASA's future plans to send astronauts to the Red Planet. Scientists determined the quake resulted from a meteoroid impact when they looked at before and after images from NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter and spotted a new yawning crater, offering a rare opportunity to see how a large impact shook the ground on Mars. The event and its effects are detailed in 2 papers published Thursday, October 7th in the Journal of Science. So this shows the depth of the thing. So the photo says impact crater formed December 21st, 2021. So it gives that same description. The meteoroid is estimated to have spanned 16 to 39 feet or 5 to 12 meters, small enough that it would have burned up in Earth's atmosphere, but not in Mars' thin atmosphere, which is just 1% as dense as our planet's. The impact in a region called Amazonas Plantia blasted a crater roughly 492 feet or 150 meters across and 70 feet or 21 meters deep. Some of the ejecta thrown by the impact flew as far as 23 miles or 37 kilometers away. With images and seismic data documenting the event, this is believed to be one of the largest craters ever witnessed forming any place in the solar system. Many large craters exist on the red planet, but they are significantly older and predate any Mars mission. The quote says, it is unprecedented to find a fresh impact of this size. It's an exciting moment in geologic history, and we got to witness it. The quote is by Ingrid Dauber of Brown University, who leads the InSight Impact Science Working Group. InSight has seen its power to drastically decline in recent months due to dust settling on the solar panels. The spacecraft now is expected to shut down within the next 6 weeks, bringing the mission's science to an end. InSight is studying the planet's crust, mantle, and core. Seismic waves are key to the mission and reveal the size and depth and composition of Mars' inner layers. Since landing November 2018, InSight has detected 1,318 Marsquakes, including several caused by smaller meteoroid impacts. But the quake resulting from last December's impact was the first observed to have surface waves, a kind of seismic wave that ripples along the top of a planet's crust. The second of the two science papers related to the big impact describes how scientists use these waves to study the structure of Mars' crust. So this is the sound of the Martian impact. My mouse will center on it. Okay, so that was the sound of the impact. In late 2021, InSight scientists report to the rest of the team that they detected a major Mars quake on December 24th. The crater was spotted on February 11th of 2022. And this goes into the detail of all the images. And I don't know if you want to have all that detail, but it just goes into the detail of the images. The impact's blast zone was visible in data that allowed the team to pin down a 24-hour period within which the impact occurred. These observations correlated with seismic epicenter, conclusively demonstrating that the meteoroid impact caused the large Mars 24 Marsquake. Okay, continuing in quotation, the image of the impact was unlike any I had seen before, with a massive crater, the exposed ice, and a dramatic blast zone preserved in the Martian dust, said Lilia Pazlova, who leads the Orbital Science and Operations Group. I couldn't help but imagine, she continues, that what it must have been like to witness the impact, the atmospheric blast, and the breeze ejected miles downrange. Establishing the rate at which craters appear on Mars is critical for refining the planet's geologic timeline. On older surfaces, such as those on Mars or our moon, there are more craters than on Earth. On our planet, the process of erosion and plate tectonics erase older features from the surface. New craters also expose materials below the surface. In this case, large chunks of ice scattered by the impact were viewed by high-resolution imaging. So, subsurface ice can be a vital source for astronauts who could use it for a variety of needs, including drinking water, agriculture, and rocket propellant. Buried ice has never been spotted this close to the Martian equator, which is the warmest part of Mars, and it is an appealing location for astronauts. So this is a flyover video in animation. This is a flyover video of the crater in the animated form. Yeah, exciting. They found water there. So if they found water, they could use it to drink. They could use it to grow crops, and they could use it to extract hydrogen and oxygen for fuel. So really good find. This goes into more about the missions. So it talks about the insight and who manages it, where it's managed, and who the scientific partners are. So if you want to read all that, you can go to NASA's website and look up this article of October 27th on the NASA InSight lander. So that's where you can see that. So those were the topics that we had. Wes had some topics that he threw me. I think he put them in the off-topic section. And Wes is going to have to explain these. But Wes's first topic was, is all communication progress? Is all communication discourse? Arguments legal and otherwise. Debate. Can verbal fighting ever be good? So Wes asked, do we really care that much about Twitter? Well, Wes, they were discussing that earlier. Wes also says maybe something about inflation and recession affect everybody differently, and some folks who don't make it. Some folks who don't make or have much money are suffering already. And then he says, I'm in the freedom of speech and you, and there's 6 of us already. So those are the things that Wes brought up. So okay. Jolie is out with her family tonight, so she may be in here late. People on Facebook are telling you to be nice to everyone, whether you agree or not. Yeah, the only thing about that is, like, some of the people that tell you have to be nice to everybody are the ones who simply don't want to discuss anything that's really going on in the world. That's their way of being nice. And yes, I have to admit my ignorance when it comes to people in other states who are not my congressman or my senator. I just don't know all these people that some of you all know. I don't read on all these things. So I guess, yes, more preparation is needed for this show. When I came up with the concept of this show, though, the idea was to just keep discussing what was on the other shows, because that was the original concept as far as I was concerned. And so I was thinking freeform, I just like to talk to people. I just like to discuss. Some people actually have real opinions about every possible thing out there that is a topic that is in politics. And really, sometimes my only real opinion is, let's vote for somebody who's actually going to do something and solve the problems, as opposed to voting for the people that are not going to do anything and not solve any problems. So that kind of makes me different than other people. Some people are very, very passionate about what they want for each and every possible topic under the sun. Some of us are just like, just don't take my freedom away. Don't take away the freedom of other people. Make sure that people that have paid into the system for Social Security get to keep it. And, that's kind of where I'm at. So I don't know what has happened to my keying, but I'm going to tweak it a little. It's going to mess up. It's kind of touchy tonight. So you may see the key get destroyed every once in a while, and you may see the background atmosphere just kind of sparkle a little bit, but oh well. it tends to be a little bit more sensitive on this program on StreamYard than it was on Restream. However, StreamYard is less computer intensive, so that's kind of good. About inflation. I think the main thing that needs to be said about inflation is primarily controlled by the desire of the greedy to remain greedy, the slowing down of the economic system during 2020, during the peak startup of COVID-19, and the fact that the system is going again. So when the system goes down and it's not making any money, when it gets started back up, it's going to have a lot of inflation. So that's part of it. The other part of it is the value of oil. I mean, we know that the former president could have spent the money. He could have just, got oil for free. He didn't want the oil price to tank, though, because he liked his buddies in the petroleum business. And, they probably would not have given him as much support if he let the oil price tank. But now, you've got the prices going. And of course, you have the war in Ukraine. So that's affecting our availability of gas from Russia. Can't get gas from Russia, so going to have higher prices. But the Republicans like to try to blame it on our current president, Biden. Can't blame it on Biden. None of his policies really set these prices, although his policies to release the oil reserves are helping the prices. So that is where he can help. But there's just a lot, that you can't really do when the economy is controlled by the price of the fuel oil. And that affects the price of everything else that gets delivered, because so much of our material gets delivered by trucking. But even that which gets shipped by shipping on an actual ship on the water is still burning fuel. So you got everything controlled by that price. Plus we have a lot of things going on. We have these Republican states who do not want to take credit for what they did, where they took the immigrants and kicked them out and, made it more difficult for products to get delivered because there's not as many people working on delivering the product, and where they run everything through many more checks before it gets delivered. And so there are delays and prices increase because items are not delivered as quickly as they were before. So whenever there's a shortage of something, the price of something goes up. So you have that going on. So there's your factors of inflation. Recession's a topic I would leave up to economists. Not an expert on that. Is all communication progress? That's an interesting one. If it's positive, if it leads to something that actually helps the human condition, it is. So that's part of it. Is all communication discourse? Discourse should really be something that's civil between two parties. So name calling, as is fond in the MAGA community, is not discourse. Name calling is just name calling for the sake of name calling, for belittling people, and it's not a form of civil discourse. Not sure what you meant by arguments legal and otherwise. Can verbal fighting be good? I think on a debate stage where you fight with real ideas, verbal fighting can be good. But I don't think that the type of verbal fighting that goes on between the MAGA and their hate speech and their name calling is good. And I don't think that it's good for a candidate to come on TV with a bunch of lies about another candidate just because there's a certain segment, of the populace who responds to negative advertising. Because if you watch all these Republican ads, you'll see they're all the same. Candidate X or candidate Y in the Democratic Party is guilty of this, when in most cases, all of the things that they're saying are abject lies. And in most cases, it's projecting what the Republicans are actually guilty of. Jim says there's a barge traffic jam on the Mississippi due to low water levels from drought. Yes, it is really a real problem. We have low water levels on the Mississippi, and they can't get the product through. And that is where a lot of product goes through that doesn't go on trucks. So that's affecting people and their prices. Yep, I saw that on television. I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago. So that's a real problem. Meanwhile, you have low water levels there, and you have high water levels where Ian flooded everything. So might have been on 60 Minutes. Yeah, might have been WW. Might have been. Jim says lots of Midwest grain moves on river barges. Yeah. I think a lot of other things they were discussing besides just grain. So Trucker John, did you have to get another jump on your truck to get your truck going again? I know that your live stream earlier this week, you had to get a jump to get your truck going. So what else did we have? So there was a sporting event mentioned. Wrong keyboard. Try again. LULA wins Brazil. Oh, it's not sporting, it is actual election. Okay. So that's Brazilian election. So Lula may win the Brazilian election. And if it ever lets me scroll. Too many elements on that page. I'm just eating up computer. So there's a video playing in the background. Former President of Brazil, Luiz Inácio let me try that again. Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva holds a solid polling lead against incumbent Jair Bolsonaro, with a chance of clinching the race in the first round, surveys showed on Saturday. Brazil's most polarized election in decades will decide whether to return to power the leftist leader who spent time in jail on corruption convictions, or the right-wing populist who has attacked the voting system and threatened to contest defeat. Sound familiar? I don't know if this computer wants to allow me to scroll it or not. There it goes. Okay. Now I'm on the right tab. Two polls released on Saturday showed Lula with a majority of the valid votes, which would mean outright victory, avoiding a bruising runoff. Lula was winning with 51% of valid votes in the poll, including blank and spoiled ballots. And another poll showed the popular two-term president with a 50% of valid votes. Both surveys from some of Brazil's most established polling teams had a margin of error of 2 percentage points and showed Lula with an advantage of 14 percentage points over Bolsonaro. Two other polls showed Lula with 48 or 49% respectively within the margin of error of outright victory. If none of the 11 presidential candidates gets more than 50% of valid votes, the two frontrunners, almost certainly Lula and Bolsonaro, would go to the second round vote on October 30th. So there's more to this article on a different page. Lula told reporters he was hoping to finish the election on Sunday. I can only be optimistic. There is very little to go to reach 50% plus one vote. So is there really more to this article? Bolsonaro, a 67-year-old former army captain who spent nearly 3 decades in Congress pushing his pro-gun, anti-gay, and anti-abortion agenda, was swept into office in 2018 on a wave of conservative backlash to Lula's Workers' Party. Sounds very familiar to Trump versus Biden, so to speak. He closed his re-election campaign with motorcycle rallies in Sao Paulo and the southern state of Santa Catarina. Lula rode in an open car and then walked with thousands of cheering supporters who turned out in central Sao Paulo, eager to see him despite drizzling rain. The event was called the Walk of Victory. The Workers' Party has booked a rally on Sao Paulo's Midtown Paulista Avenue for Sunday night to celebrate victory by the 76-year-old former union leader who co-founded the party in 1980 and has run 6 times on its presidential ticket. Brazil's electronic voting system, which Bolsonaro called vulnerable to fraud without providing evidence, allows the National Electoral Authority to quickly tally results within hours after polls close at 5 p.m. The head of the TSE, Supreme Court Justice Andre de Morales, called on Brazilians by Twitter to celebrate the country's democracy by turning out to vote with peace, security, and harmony, respect, and freedom. So it really sounds like this ongoing fight between liberals and conservatives in so far as, whenever the conservative is losing, the conservative is going to say, hey, the voting is rigged, it's not valid, and just sort of like reiterate Trump's kind of, language. Yep, worldwide. Jim says Bolsonaro was backed by world petroleum interests, particularly U.S. corporations. And welcome to Chat TV2 Live. I see you jumped in there in the last few minutes or so. So good to have you here tonight. So yeah, it's becoming a worldwide thing. So the computer's acting up over there. Jim says Brazilian leftists are not like U.S. liberals. Okay, how are they different? Care to elaborate? I was being very generic, Jim. What I meant by what I said is that the argument over the elections being rigged is no different. I didn't expect them to be exactly like us, though. You can chastise me, but I used to not care about world politics, but I realized that we have to care about world politics. Leftists in South America are generally Marxists. Okay. So does that mean you would support the other candidate because they're a Marxist, or would you support them, Jim? WW157 says Lula was a union guy, very pro-poor working folks. Trucker John says, I believe Lula is clearly the better choice. Casper Northerner says, I can see parallels between America and Britain. Yeah, what do you feel the new king is going to be like, Casper? Do you think the new king is going to be more conservative than his mother was as queen? What are your feelings on that? Jim says, I would support the Marxists. They usually care more for the common person. WW says, I forgot to select live chat. Yeah, that is a problem. I really do wish YouTube would just put live chat as the default and only allow people that want top chat to select it. So I think that's just the nature of things. So even Canada, they have sort of a Nazi group there. By that, do you mean they have a group of people that don't see what's going on? So, anyway. Hey, Shecky Bobo, good to see you out there on Twitch. All the other peeps, is it all the other peeps are on YouTube? Yep, you're out there on your own. Good evening. Sons of Odin. WW says, I was talking about the right-wingers who only read what they want to read, i.e. Fox News. Yep. That's what I figured you were talking about. I'm looking up the Sons of Odin. The name is familiar. That's an album by Man of War, but I wonder if there's like some other reference to that. Seems like there should be. I know there's like fan fiction about Sons of Odin. Hey, good evening, Elizabeth. Because it wasn't Odin one of the people on Mount Olympus? That vaguely comes to mind. It's been a long time since I studied that sort of thing. There's and then there's some other stuff. Sorry, I'm getting a call that I don't want to take. People that don't know that I'm doing a show right now. So anyway, Bach Todd says hello. It's Norse mythology. Okay. Yeah, my presentation computer is being a pain right now. Soldiers of Odin. Okay. So my presentation computer is kind of like locked up. I'm see if I can get that unlocked. But Soldiers of Odin. So I'm going to go visually blind from chat here for a minute. Soldiers of Odin. Okay, so there's a Wikipedia article about it. Soldiers of Odin is a anti-immigrant group which is found in Kimu, Finland in October of 2015. The group was established in response to the thousands of migrants who were arriving in Finland against the European migrant crisis. They call themselves, quote, a patriotic organization that fights for a Finland that wants to scare away Islamist intruders, they say, cause insecurity and increase crime. So another one of those types of groups. So okay. And WW Radio, it's what I just looked up. And Andrea says, in response to my king and queen being political, they're not political. The king or queen isn't supposed to be political. Yeah, I'm kind of just, I kind of said king, but I was really meaning the, what do they call them? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. What do you call the person that the queen just appointed her and then she just quit, and now this other person is in charge, and I can't think of the title. I'm just drawing a complete blank. Clayton says I'm wrong. I guess I thought there was an Odin group in Canada. What are the topics today? We've gone over several topics. We went over, we started with Barack Obama's statement about not electing a particular Republican because he would just take away Social Security. And if your loved ones depend on Social Security, you don't want to vote for him because his entire emphasis is to give tax breaks to the rich instead of making sure that your loved ones keep their Social Security that they paid into. We talked about, let's see, we have a Discord here. We talked about the extreme increase in the use of the N-word on Twitter after Elon Musk took over, and statistics that point to that. We talked about the fact that the Mastriano family, the husband was speaking, he is a candidate, and he, when asked to condemn anti-Semitic comments about Josh Shapiro and his association with white nationalist platform Gab, his wife stepped in and said, "We probably love Israel more than a lot of Jews do." So she basically said that what they're saying and doing doesn't matter because they give money to people. And then I was corrected on that. So you'll have to read from chat how I misinterpreted that. We talked about the Trump team receiving the subpoena from the Jan 6 committee. So the lawyers have begun to look at it and discuss it. And they've begun to try to throw it out of court. We talked about something that Jim suggested, which was the NASA InSight lander detecting a meteoroid impact on Mars, and that displaced a large amount of material on Mars, and it hit Mars much harder than a meteoroid would hit Earth because of the gravitational differences and how it displaced things and threw it out about 23 miles, and how they found ice chunks, so therefore there is water on Mars. So those are some of the things that we talked about earlier, and then we've talked about what was appearing in chat. And Elizabeth says, I want to reclaim the word patriot. I feel like it's been hijacked. Yeah, me too. Robin says, I'm late. Hello, Robin, and welcome. Trailer Park Todd says, people are too keen to use the N-word on Twitter. It's disgusting. Elizabeth says that people misusing the word patriot think that the end of the world vindicates them somehow. Yes, because they see religious significance with current events, and they are encouraged to think that way from their pulpits and to think that way from what they consider a news source, which is not a news source. Trailer Park Todd says, I'll go back and watch it later. Yeah. So, what's going on? The presentation computer basically killed the browser or brought it down. Let's see if I can get it back up. Or I can just keep presenting blind from this computer. And it looks like it's going to be time to make a purchase for another computer to have more computing power, because the laptop is just not holding up very well for these shows. So, or just don't ever forget to turn it on in the morning and give it more time to stabilize and get all the virus scan and all that stuff settled down. Do I have a Dracula impression? Probably only from that record. Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist? The Monster Mash, that's where I get it from. That's probably the only way that I can do a Dracula. It's like, whatever happened to my Transylvania twist? But I won't sing the Monster Mash because Andrea doesn't like it when I sing. So, am I going to go trick-or-treating? No, I can't go trick-or-treating because it's not good for me. Definitely not good for me to eat sugar candy, and you can't very well eat very much candy that doesn't have sugar in it because the candy with the substitute sweetener is just like almost like taking X-Lax. It'll help you go to the restroom, and I don't need more help in that area. So, nope, not going trick-or-treating. My neighbors are going to do trick-or-treating. My neighbors got their thing going on, so I'm sure my neighbors will bring some kids down the street if the kids really realize. Who's my favorite Dracula? Not really into Dracula. What do I like in Halloween? Halloween is I'm more of a Beetlejuice fan. That's my movie. Yeah, that's the one I can't get enough of. Elizabeth says, I'll be in and out listening. Favorite of the classical universal monsters? Favorite of classical universal monsters? Max Schreck is my favorite Dracula, says Clayton. Even though they couldn't call it Dracula because of copyright. WW says he likes Godzilla. Elizabeth, you're trimming grapes. That sounds interesting. Do you make wine out of your grapes? Hey, Jolie, welcome. Yes, we did miss you. WW said he thought he was talking to you earlier. WW says his favorite Dracula is Barnabas Collins. Interesting. Robin says our driveway is extremely long at 1,000 feet, so we get very little trick-or-treaters or none, zero. My problem has been, Robin, when I have given out candy, it was just me and my one neighbor at the end of the street. And so they didn't see enough activity down the street, so they didn't come this way, because trick-or-treaters like to see lights on the whole street before they come down the way. So I would maybe give out like 3 to 5 candy bars, and then I'd eat all the others myself, and then that's not good for me. Not good for me at all. I'll be a truck driver for Halloween, says Trucker John. Yeah, Trucker John. WW says, I live on a busy street, but I still buy all my favorite candy just in case anybody comes. If they don't, I just eat it later. I have coworkers who are like that, WW, where they buy candy and what they end up doing is bringing it to work. But this year I'm going to have to try to stop myself from eating any of it, or at least, don't eat more than like a piece a day because it's not good. It's not good. What I should do is I should just tell them to buy stuff that I don't like. Then I won't eat it. But you can't make people decide what they want to buy or not buy. He says, I used to take it to work also. Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious, those of you who have children, do you let their children go and do you let them eat the candy that they actually get? Or do you let them eat the candy that you buy and then you turn around and give the candy out? Because my mother used to be that way. Okay, Elizabeth, enjoy Richard Ojeda. Have a good night. Okay, so I'm curious, that's my question. Do you let your kids eat the candy that they go get, or do you turn around and just give them the candy that you buy because your safety? I'd like to know that. So answer in the chat. And also, if you're going to dress up in costume, what are you going to dress up as? If you don't let them eat the candy, they start screaming. Clayton says, I inspect the candy, but then they can eat it. We have no kids, says Robin. Used to go through all their candy they got before they could have any. No costume, probably won't even have kids unless it is the next door neighbors. I make them eat it all before they come home because of my raw food diet. I don't want it in my house. My son used to get after me because I would eat some of his candy, but then it got to be a point of, well, Dad, you can have these, and he would like separate it into two piles, the pile for him and the pile for me. And then when he just like had enough, then he'd say, okay, Dad, eat the rest. But he would separate it and say like, okay, this is your pile, Dad, this is my pile, because he had certain ones that he liked and certain ones he didn't like. So and I have to wonder, I bet he still dresses up in costume. For a while he worked in a line of work where it was acceptable to dress up in costume. I don't know about his new job. So we'll just have to see. Jim says I hand out strips of bacon. Yeah. I used to have a neighbor that would give people pennies because they figured that, if you got enough pennies and stuff. But I think they were just like trying to be retro because they remembered a long time ago that pennies would buy candy. And I think during the time when I went trick-or-treating, 60s and 70s, a penny would probably get you a gumball. Long ago, people would give cookies in plastic bags. She's not on here tonight, but we used to have Lynette drop in from Facebook. And Lynette is actually one of these people who still believes in trick or treat. So she actually put stuff on her Facebook that showed people like making trick items where you put like, what was it? It wasn't broccoli, it was something else. But it was one of those vegetables that, excuse me, that kids are unlikely to eat. And it was like chocolate covering the vegetable. So they think they're like going to eat something that's big in chocolate, and they would like eat into a vegetable. Jolie says, I always let my kids eat their candy, taught them to be careful of anything that looks suspicious, never had any problem. There might have been somebody that did something, but I think most of these allegations that there might be things inside of candy are just that, allegations. But again, YouTube opinion, not based in research, not sure about fact, but I think most of it is just allegations, unless somebody knows otherwise, that they actually knew somebody that got something. Now, it wasn't Halloween, but there was an instance where someone in my school that was older than me, predated me in high school, excuse me, actually drank a soda that was laced with LSD and had an incident. So that actually did happen. So somebody probably slipped it to him that thought it was a joke or something. But I don't really know of anybody who's actually really had an instance with candy. I know that we have like police agencies that, or hospitals that say they would inspect it. So like the hospital, I don't know if they still do in the era of COVID-19, but they used to like say, bring your candy in and we'll x-ray your candy and tell you that there's no items inside of it. So yeah, it could have been parents, Clayton. It could have been parents just saying, that there was things. It wasn't broccoli. It was, gosh, I bought it the other day. It's another green vegetable, not broccoli. Brussels sprouts. That's what it was. Brussels sprouts. She posted a picture of Brussels sprouts being coated with chocolate. That would not taste good. Good evening, Kelly. Bonjour. Bonjour. I used to have friends who would talk about dirty tricks. So think about, and I won't mention them because I don't want anybody to do this. But I used to have friends who would talk about dirty tricks, and I don't know that they actually did it. That like give somebody a pill that's designed to be the pill that you take when you're having a problem going to the restroom. And they would talk about, that they thought that so-and-so gave them one of those pills. So, but again, YouTube, I do not advocate such things at all. Same for you, Twitch. Same for you, Facebook. The only way to eat broccoli is with cheese on it. I used to think that, Trucker John, but I can actually eat broccoli now. I tend to serve my broccoli either with butter or with a little bit of pepper, dash of salt put in my hand to limit how much salt, and sprinkle it on. So, or sometimes the seasoning that I use that's devoid of salt. Just depends. But a lot of times I just make my broccoli and put it together with like carrots and so I make like a vegetable dish. And the other thing I do is I've been eating mushrooms on my salad. And when the mushrooms start to turn, but they're not really bad yet, I put the mushrooms in a pan of water and put in carrots in there and broccoli in there and other things and just like cook it and make like a vegetable soup out of it. So yeah. Yeah, broccoli and butter and salt's not bad. You love broccoli and don't remember a time when you didn't. Oh, I didn't like broccoli as a kid, but I love it now. So it's like all those things that I turned my nose up as a kid and refused to eat, I would now eat now because all the things just sort of appeal to me and the good healthy things. So yeah. And not trying to make anybody hungry, but tonight I had celery and carrots and mushrooms, and that was my like soup. And I had freshly made coleslaw. So you like get the coleslaw in the bag, and you get the mayonnaise out, put the mayonnaise in it. You get your white vinegar in there and mix it, stir it all up together to make coleslaw. So I make coleslaw, and I get at least 3 or 4 meals out of it. And I had, what do you call them? Hope we don't have any vegans, but I had like the chicken tenderloin type strips. So I had that. So I had those, cooked them yesterday so I could eat them last night when I had to work. And then I ate them again tonight before tonight's broadcast so that I just have something easy to warm up, but cook them in the middle of the day so I'd have them ready to go. It's not uncommon for me to eat something that I reheat before this show because that makes it possible to go shopping and get everything done and then eat quickly and come into the show. So didn't expect it to turn into a talk show about food, but hey, you had a small pork tenderloin and chips. Yeah, I got this like pork tenderloin today at the grocery store because it was on sale. So I'm going to probably have that tomorrow. Don't belch. What's my favorite meal? Favorite meal now or favorite meal back in the day? I don't know. It just kind of depends. I mean, what do I eat out nowadays? I'm trying to think. Probably what I eat more of nowadays is like quality seafood. So like maybe like a flounder or a something of that sort. I really like rice that's got some seasoning going on with it. And my favorite all-time dessert is key lime pie. That's my go-to dessert. But have I eaten a Chateaubriand? No. I have to like figure out how to do that. Like have something good. I used to go out with my wife, and there was a Sunday buffet that we used to go to, and there was a lot of selection at that. I'm trying to think of what they did, but I can't think of I can't think of what they did. They had everything from like breakfast to lunch to dinner. I ate too much food when I was. What was my all-time everything favorite? Anything? Until I started dieting, I used to eat a lot of pasta, but that's bad because you eat too much of it. So just gotta like back off. But you'd almost like call me a Garfield for a while there because I was super into lasagna. Lasagna was the thing, and steak. I like a good steak too. You like steak and lobster tail. I like steak and shrimp. Um, so steak and shrimp with like a baked potato with butter and sour cream. Um, but maybe like a garlicky potato. That's even better. But now, like if I were to eat now, I would probably like get a flounder or something, some kind of shrimp or a cod that was cooked well, like rice pilaf, maybe some broccoli and a key lime pie. That would be really good. That would be something good. Trying to think of what that thing was that they cooked at the thing. Hello, Akona. I'm hoping I say your name right. My brain keeps saying bananas Foster. I don't know why, because I've never really had that. Lemon meringue pie. Yes, that's good. Lemon meringue pie is a good substitute for key lime pie. And our favorite podcaster, Hal Sparks, hates cheesecake. But when I was eating cheese, oh my goodness, did I love cheesecake. And there was a place that made really good cheesecake that was nearby. And it would come as like a whole round cheesecake pie. And it would have like different flavors as you went around. So yeah, cheesecake. What was the other one? Finally remembered it. I know what I had at the buffet. Eggs Benedict. That was really good. That was a good dish. I like a really good tossed salad though, and I like chili, and I like uh, vegetable soups. Do I like paprika on eggs Benedict? I guess. I also like something that's local too, that they have local at one of these places that makes chocolate, which some people completely and totally turn their nose up to. But this will take us back to Halloween and chocolate. I like chocolate covered potato chips. So I don't know if people like those or not. So where are we? We're about 9 o'clock. You like a good roast, says Todd. He likes a good roast. You don't like hollandaise sauce. Don't wake them up, WW. If they're trolls disguised as normal people, leave them alone. Let them be normal tonight. Yeah, the fun thing was the place that I went to that was for the buffet was actually a restaurant that served all kinds of pizza, and they were a place that specialized in having like all these different toppings, and you could select all the toppings that you wanted, so you could just like make up a whole thing. Don't pay any attention to his reference to trolls, Clayton. He's just asking, wondering, because usually we have some appear at this time in the show. So no, I don't think we have trolls tonight. I think everybody's just here to chat. You had some crazy one over in Trucker John's the other day. Unfortunate. You're trying to get things going. Oh, Wes or WW by your other name, trying to store some trouble and spread it around. Keep wondering if it's the distance or the light placement that's causing this distortion in my green screen effect. So I'm just kind of pull the monitor closer to me and see if some of that fuzziness goes away. I'm sure that some of it is probably just the actual placement of the lights. Runny eggs and mayonnaise. Clayton says, I don't know who Trucker John is. Clayton, Trucker John's a real trucker who has a podcast that he shoots from his truck. So you have to check out his channel. So just go looking for Trucker John on YouTube and make sure the picture looks like the Trucker John you see right now. Do girls really go crazy for a sharp-dressed man? That's a good question. Have to ask the ladies in chat. Do you really go crazy for sharp-dressed men? You want to answer, Jim, and see your opinion. And yay on Trucker John putting Jolie in as your moderator so that Jolie can get things squared away over there. YouTube is doing something. Speaking of YouTube, YouTube is supposedly rolling out handles for YouTube. And when that goes out within the next month or so, I think they said, then we're going to have the ability to set the URL for our channels on YouTube so that it is something easy for people to remember. Because up until that was a new feature, there's been a very long time on YouTube where if you want to give your channel name a good distinctive name, you've had to have a large number of viewers. And now they're going to actually make it so that you can set the URL or the thing that you type into a browser with something that's easy for people to remember. So that's going to make it easier for people to find other people's channels and easier for people to say, well, go see me at such and such, youtube.com/, and their handle name. So that'll make it a lot easier. And I remember, like, I don't know how long ago it was. I want to say it was probably closer to the year 2000, because it was probably about the late. How long has YouTube been around? I don't know. Let me ask and find out how long has YouTube been around. So I'll go to my trusty Google and ask how long has YouTube been around. How long has YouTube been around?
The 14th of February, 2005.
Okay, so YouTube's been around since 2005. So, you know, in the early days of YouTube, you could set your channel name, and then they took it away, and I'm not sure when they took it away, but there was the time when they took it away. And so in the early days, there were handles. And one of my YouTube channels had a handle, and it was easy to remember how to get there. But then they took it away and couldn't do that anymore. And it was like, okay, well, now you have to have a real big following in order to set your YouTube channel names. So it'll make it a lot easier for you to find Trucker John or myself on the YouTubes. You asked for it. Yep, I did tell you, don't ask for it. Sorry. The longer I talk without drinking something, the more the coughs come. And I always seem to forget that I could bring a cough drop to the table, but maybe that's because I don't want to take a bunch of cough drops. So what else do you want to talk about tonight? We didn't ask about your favorite Halloween candy, because I did want some of this to be about Halloween. So what's your favorite Halloween candy? Throw those names in chat. What's your favorite? Now I'll tell you mine. My favorite Halloween candy of all time is Butterfinger, because I like the taste of the Butterfinger chocolates. And yes, I'm a fan of candy corn too, Clayton. There's a lot of people that go, ew, candy corn, it's just sugar. But for some reason, I like the candy corn. And I think the reason why I like the candy corn is because they're little pieces, and you can like chew the white part off and then chew the other color off, and like you can take time to eat it. You don't eat it as fast. So that's kind of the reason why. So I always keep frozen Butterfingers for my best friend and his wife. Candy corn and now pumpkin peeps, says Andrea. What kind of candy do you only see around this time of year? Obviously, candy corn is the number one. But if you can think of another candy that you don't see quite so much, except around this time of the year or in the theaters, because the one that I think of that I never got except around this time of the year or in theaters is the Good and Plenty. And the one that only appeared pretty much around this time of the year for me was the little bits of honey, the little honey-shaped squares that were about so big, about an inch big or thereabouts. A candy apple, yeah. I like my chocolate straight up. Hershey's milk chocolate, dark chocolate, or Kisses. Yeah. So, Andre, you like the candy apples. Who among you bobbed for apples? Who actually did the bobbing for the apples in the bowl of water? I never had candy corn, says Casper Northerner. Is it actual corn? It doesn't really look like corn because it's more triangular in shape. So it's more like triangular in shape, but it's called a candy corn because it loosely resembles a corn kernel in its shape, and it traditionally is multicolored, like white on the tip and orange to yellow somewhere in between. And then, like more recently, they started making them like white and black and orange, because black and orange is associated with Halloween in the United States. Cadbury's, yes. Sugar slightly cooked. That's essentially what candy corn is, yes. Used to always get Twizzle sticks at Halloween. Yeah, Twizzlers. Or you're talking about I think maybe you're talking about the sticks that like you pulled out of the piece of paper that had some flavor color on it. And sometimes, like some people would give out those peanut butter candies that were wrapped in wax paper instead of the other paper. So you got like the little peanut butter candy that was like wrapped in the orange colored wax paper. Had powder in the paper. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mistook those for Twizzlers for a moment, but yeah, the little paper powder in the paper. So you like open the paper and just get the powder. Okay, Andrea's got another one for us to look at. So let me send that to my email so I can pull it up. And she brought up another one too. And that one I can just probably pull off of his web page. So Okay. Bump, 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 bump. Wes asks, where's Andrea? Andrea doesn't have her voice back, so she's not in the program tonight. She is just doing things in the background. So she's sending me more things to look at. So you're going to get some more content that Andrea has suggested. So hang in there. So you had some towns trick-or-treating tonight. Well, she's sending me content, so we've got one here from Midas Touch, so hang in there. So Trump has put on his Truth Social. To the people of Brazil, this is your big day and also a big day for the world. Your great and highly respected president, Jair Bolsonaro, needs you to get out and vote today so that your country can continue on its incredible path of success. Don't let the radical left lunatics and maniacs destroy Brazil like they have so many other countries. President Bolsonaro has done a fantastic job. He has my complete and total endorsement and deserves your vote. He will never let you down. And Midas Touch comments, loser. So that's what's going on. So that's what's Trump's thing. And bring that one back to appropriate size. So every time you hear my thumb make the noise, Andrea is sending me more things for you to all the views. So hang in there. We'll get to all of these. So this was the next one that Andrea sent. So, and this one reads, he's in the Billionaire Boys Club. Let's see if I can get back to the, and you're going to see who that is in a moment. So it's a picture of Elon Musk with Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, so that's the next one that Andrea had sent. Yeah, I guess trolls are a badge of honor sometimes. You just gotta ignore them and keep enjoying what you're watching. Okay, so the next one. Okay, back to these. So we got two of them. Here's another one coming that gets sent over to my email. So hang in there while I do that. So it's going to be a few moments. Talk amongst yourselves while I send all these to my email so that I can pull them up quick. I think it's just two more. So just two more. Yeah, it was just two more. So I got two more to show you. Okay, so back to the email. So this is going to be Rick Wilson, and he's going to give you a quick thought on the Pelosi assassination attempt. Get that paused, shuttle back to the beginning, bring it up, and I'll have to resize it so that you can see it better. Okay, resizing it. It's buffering. Sorry about the buffering. Buffering. Well, when it stops buffering, it'll come up. Hey, Ambassador, welcome, and hey, Scotty B, welcome. And I'm going to take this video out, and I'm going to see whether it plays when it's not trying to put it up on screen. So give me a second or two. See if I can get it to play. Not sure why. I mean, it was working before, but it's just like hanging. Okay, I'm going to close that window and just see if I open it again, does that make it improve? Because maybe it just didn't load it very well. So let's see what happens. Okay, it's playing when it's smaller. So let me see if I can pause it and bring it back to the beginning. Because if we can hear what he's saying, that would be good enough. It wouldn't be presented as large, but if at least you can hear what he's saying when it's in the Twitter window, then at least you can hear the content, even though you won't see it as a big, nice full screen video. So this is Rick Wilson with a quick thought on the attack on Mr. Pelosi.
Hey, good morning, folks. I wanted to take a second to just talk about this Pelosi assassination attempt, because that's how you should phrase it. It was an assassination attempt. Skip all the Republican projection and propaganda and weirdness and lies that it was a gay tryst gone wrong. That's some whopper-sized projection from a lot of these people. And look at it as the reality of the case. This was an assassination attempt. This guy was motivated by a climate and a culture and an ecosystem and a structure of agitprop and media manipulation of weak-minded people in this country, because that's really the target audience for Fox and for Bannon and for Alex Jones and for this gigantic accretion of far-right, MAGA-right ecosystems that feed these people a steady diet of conspiracy theories, of insane falsehoods, of manipulation and information that any rational person would look at for 30 seconds, including you, Elon, referencing the Santa Monica Observer, which has previously told us that Hillary Clinton was dead. But this ecosystem feeds people with weak minds. It feeds people who are mentally unstable. And look, it looks like this guy may have had some serious mental health issues. It looks like he's a crazy person. But you know what? Crazy people go on the internet too. Crazy people watch cable TV too. Crazy people are fed this propaganda also. Throughout history, a lot of assassinations have been mentally ill people who were motivated and manipulated by much smarter people. Steve Bannon knows what he's doing. Alex Jones knows what he's doing. Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch know what they're doing. The people at Facebook know what's happening on their platform. And now Elon seems to be celebrating what's happening on this platform. Folks, election's in 9 days. If you don't take it seriously now, I don't know what I can tell you. Get on it. Get out and vote. Thanks.
Okay, so what do you think about that? What do you think about what he had to say? Did you hear it all the way through? Do you need it run through a second time or what? So let's see what you think. And Andrea sent me what might be a different link for that too. I think it was just the same length. I don't know. So it looks like it's on Twitter again. If you didn't hear it, we could play it again. So if it was good for you, then it was something you could see. There are two other things that Andrea sent, so let's get to those. So the first is a tweet from Billy Baldwin. So let's bring that up. So Billy Baldwin says on his tweet, Lula just beat Bolsonaro in the final election. The people of Brazil just stood up and said no to hate, no to violence, and no to fascism. Yes or no? Are you as pumped as I am to do the same here? He asks. Are we? Should we be? I think we should be. Do you agree? Should we just be out there voting for the Democrats to make sure that we keep our Constitution and stand up to fascism? I hope so. I hope that's what we do. between now and on Election Day. I have another one. So it's another copy of the video. So I think you sent the link more than once, or I accidentally sent it more than once. Okay. So yes, I do hope so. It's a good sign. I hope it's a sign for us here in the United States. It looks like you're discussing a movie of some sort. Oh, John says, I'm thinking about seeing Halloween Ends tonight. And Jolie responds back about the movie. I can't decide if I want to see that or not. I have two friends that went to see it, loved it, one hated it, zero help on deciding whether to see it. Dark Wetzer said about the attack on Mr. Pelosi, if Nancy had been there, what would have that guy have done? He probably could have attacked her, so we probably would have the Speaker of the House attacked, is what I would think. We have new comments down below. This is Clayton's opinion of the movie that they're discussing. Trailer Park Todd asks what movies I like. Well, if we stick to Halloween, I like Beetlejuice. I'm not sure that it was released during Halloween season. I'd have to look it up, but I like the movie Gothica. That's one that I always mention that's very scary. I'm one of those people that likes the parodies of scary movies, though. I like Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, so on. I like making fun of them. I like Clue. So I like movies that make fun of scary movies like that. Never really got into the very scary movies, and the scariest movie that I ever really remember seeing that did shake me was The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. Because I thought it was just interesting and fun and whatnot. And I told this story before. There were a couple of younger women who were there with their boyfriends, and they were making fun of the kind of things going on. They were giggling and laughing before the movie, and then they were like grossed out and sick when he turned into the Fly. So, and I was laughing at them at that point. So yeah, what movies do I like? I mean, movies that I really like are like Tron Legacy, all kinds of superhero movies, musicals, movies like Ocean's 11, the remake of the, what do they call that? Shoot. The Italian Job. That's one that I liked. I mean, there's a whole lot of movies I like, but I also like a lot of Disney or Disney-like movies. So I'm big into that sort of thing. The last movie I actually saw in the theater was Inside Out. So, but I have seen FX. I was watching FX on, I think it was on Showtime back in the 80s on a night that an earthquake hit California. And I was in California around Riverside County. And it hit like, I think somewhere in Riverside County, like around near 29 Palms or what's that place that's out there that's famous? Can't think of it. Beverly. Is Beverly Hills in Riverside County? I don't remember. Or no, Beverly Hills is probably in Los Angeles. I'm not really great on places. I would have to like look up stuff. I mean, I know more about my own Palm Springs. Thank you, Benny Loco. Hello, good evening. Palm Springs, yeah. I just saw Black Adam a few days ago. It was pretty good, says Trucker John. Trailer Park Todd says, my favorite at the moment is Don't Look Up. Yes, that's a good one. Your power is out. Oh, no. Your power blinked twice today. Well, Benny, is your power out maybe due to the weather or fires or what? I wonder. Good thing you have a UPS on your mainframe. Yep. This is running on a UPS just in case. I haven't really tested it to see, but I hope it's good. But it keeps this going because the main computer for the show is a solid state computer, and the other computer that does the presentations is my laptop. Got to go poke the electric company. Somebody probably hit a pole. Yeah, that happens. They were celebrating too early for Halloween and probably got intoxicated. That's what I would think. Yes, Betty, I agree with Jolie. That was a good job the other day on Stuttering John. You have 20 minutes to shut it down, but I keep the phone and laptop running for hours. I'll tell you what I am surprised by, Dark Webster, is that these battery packs that you get at like Walmart that are meant to be charged so you can charge your phone off of them when you lose your power. I was surprised at how long those hold power. I just hope they keep working. You hate typing on your phone? Yeah, I do too. This phone is like only this big, and it's got a green case. That's why it disappears. So this phone is, let me put it up here. This phone is only this big, and this is my modern phone. And when you guys see me on chat, it's because I'm using the other phone, because I'm using this phone on Wi-Fi instead when I'm chatting and I'm not on a computer. Much easier. The mess made a statement on Paul Pelosi, and Texas Paul tore him a new one. Let's see if I can find Texas Paul. Go wandering off to Twitter. That's a phone. This? Yeah. This is the iPhone 13 mini. That's how I managed to get an iPhone 13 without spending a lot for it, is I got a mini. Because I wanted the latest, greatest at the time. They have the 14 out now, but I've heard that there's some issues with the 14. So Andrea is sending me a link. So Dinesh D'Souza. Probably take me longer to, oh, maybe yes, no, yes. Yes, no. Yeah, it'd probably take me longer to search for it than it would to use Andrea's link, so I'll send the link to my email. Come on, phone, cooperate. Okay. Okay, let's find the. Come on. There we go. Pause, pull back. So, oops, not that. Don't want to do that. Wrong function. Try again. There we go. So this is Texas Paul Schroeder on Twitter, and he says, fuck Dinesh D'Souza, and then he gives his video comment. See if we can do that full screen.
Okay, folks. I go after white racist dudes all the time because I believe everybody should clean up their own backyard first. So if my Indian friends would like to take care of Dinesh, please feel free to go, have at it. Just scoop that turd up out of your own backyard. But the whole thing about the guy being in his underwear and shit like that, this, that, and the other, somebody debunked that and found the original Fox affiliate that had recanted that and did a correction on it. It was me. I found it. It was I released it. So yeah, fuck Dinesh D'Souza. Okay, folks. I go after white racist dudes all the time because I believe everybody should clean up their own backyard first. So if my Indian friends would like to take care of Dinesh, please feel free to go, have at it. Just scoop that turd up out of your own backyard. But the whole thing about the guy being in his underwear and shit like that, this, that, and the other, somebody debunked that and found the original Fox affiliate that had recanted that and did a correction on it. It was me. I found it. It was I released it. So yeah, fuck Dinesh D'Souza.
So I think there's more to that, actually. Wasn't that comment about the? Let me see if it opens it up so I can see what the original comment is about. Okay. Yeah, this is what the comment is about. So this is what he's commenting on. So hang on one second. So let me bring that up. Because otherwise you don't know what the context of his statement is. So this is what he's commenting on. So this is what Dinesh D'Souza said that got Texas Paul so angry that he made that statement.
Okay, so it makes sense that Paul Pelosi was in his underpants. He's at home, it's early in the morning, but why was the assailant in his underpants? And what if the assailant said, "Where's Nancy?" Not because he was after Nancy Pelosi, but he wanted to make sure she was not home. And how did they both get hammers? And how did Paul Pelosi get away? Bathroom break to make the 911 call. And why did Paul Pelosi tell the police that he knew the guy? His name was David, and he was, quote, a friend. My conclusion, this guy, the assailant, is either a sex partner or a male prostitute, and this is a sexual rendezvous that went sideways.
Oh my God. He is so full of crap. He is so full of crap. Keep your deviant behavior, Mr. D'Souza, out of everyone else's life. You're the deviant, really, really, really. Good evening, Mark P. How you doing? Okay. So was there another one that Andrea sent after that one? No, it was just that one. So yeah, how we'll shred that to pieces, Trucker John. That's a good question, Casper. It's a good question. But as you see that Texas Paul said that he debunked the idea that the guy was in his pajamas, and we're talking about the assailant, not Mr. Pelosi. And Bezler says, I know D'Souza's a felon, so I take him for what he's worth, but Elon Musk is vile. Anybody with eyes like that, says Clayton, is unhinged for sure. Andrea responds to Casper and says the Pelosi's can go for slander if they wanted to. Benny Loco says, we got a lot of house cleaning to do. Yes, we do. It should be the mess is disgusting, says Trucker John. Castor thinks that the Pelosi should actually investigate and charge D'Souza for his slander. Benny Loco says, get them on all these things. Take the real action against these people. Is Musk autistic? I thought he was something other than autistic, but it's very similar. I'm not really sure. He might be autistic. You might be right about that. Elon Musk medical diagnosis. He has Asperger's. I don't know Is Asperger's a form of autism? Yes. Okay, so you're correct. Asperger's is a form of autism. Musk, Clayton, Elon Musk is a person who has a form of Asperger's. He is on the autism spectrum. So that's what makes him kind of different, kind of like gives him some of his creativity, but it makes him also like a little bit different, in terms of how he sees the world and so forth. So I don't mean to disparage people with autism. I'm just saying that he is somebody who talks about it all the time. And when he was on Saturday Night Live, he talked about it. So. Hey, T-Baggins, hello. Anyway, I'm just quietly reading chat. I'm trying to tread lightly on this issue of medical conditions that people have, so I don't give the appearance to be non-supportive, because I am supportive. So. Benny Loco says, I'm sitting in complete darkness, kind of nice, quiet. Yeah. The real question for you, Benny Loco, is, though, are you sitting there singing Hello Darkness, my old friend? So Andrea bumps us up with another topic. Hang on. We have a statement here by President Biden, so give us just a moment. We'll have that up on the screen. A statement by President Biden in regards to the results of the election in Brazil. So that's coming. Oops. Well, I guess it would help if I opened it first before I put it on the screen. Otherwise, all you're going to do is see a link. And it would help if I opened the right thing, because all I did was open the last thing. So hang on. You can tell I'm getting tired when I open the wrong link. Okay. So here comes a statement by President Biden. And it says, I send my congratulations to Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva on his election to be the next president of Brazil following free, fair, and credible elections. I look forward to working together to continue the cooperation between our two countries in the months and years ahead. So that's President Biden's statement. Okay, and we also have another one coming up from Politics Girl. So hang on. Let me get that one up. All right. One moment. It's coming up. So this is a video from Politics Girl. Putting it up on screen.
Let's just do a quick comparison. The Democrats passed a law to forgive $10,000 worth of student loans. The Republicans passed a law that offered $10,000 bounties on women who might have had an abortion. The Democrats just raised Social Security payments by 8%. The Republicans want to cut Social Security entirely. The Democrats just signed a bill to make prescription drugs more affordable. The Republicans want to repeal the bill and make prescription drugs more expensive. The Democrats have promised that the very first bill they sign if they retain power will be a law codifying Roe v. Wade. The Republicans have promised that they will sign a national abortion ban. The Democrats just lowered the federal deficit by $1.4 trillion. The Republicans have raised the deficit every year they've been in office. The Democrats want common sense gun regulations to keep our citizens safe. The Republicans want no regulations on any weapons at any time for any reason. The Democrats just signed the biggest climate bill in the country's history to attempt to start saving our dying planet. The Republicans don't care if the planet is dying as long as the corporations who fund them continue to make money. The Democrats support Ukraine as they fight the frontline battle of democracy versus autocracy on the world stage. And the Republicans think we should pull back on supporting Ukraine and capitulate to the country committing genocide. I mean, I could go on and on. Just example after example of why it's so obvious that unless you're a billionaire who has off-world or subterranean plans for your future, you should be voting for Democrats. If you want things to be better, you can't keep choosing the party that votes to make them worse. Side by side, the contrast is so stark, the decision should be easy. This is no longer a choice between left and right. It's a choice between right and wrong. Don't let anyone tell you different. It's your future you're voting for, after all.
So be sure to subscribe to Politics Girl so you can see all of her incredible videos.
A lot of forgiveness.
And you'll see more of that type of content out there. She's right on. She's got the right ideas, and you should follow her on Twitter. Okay, what are we seeing in chat right now? This one by Casper. Our defamation laws are quite strict. They could show a documentary about Scientology because we have blasphemy laws. And of course, this was expected. All the maggots are calling Brazil voting a fraud because the guy that lost is also doing that. So some of your comments I'm not going to read out loud. Hurry back, Benny Loco. Okay. So Been at this for 2 hours and 43 almost minutes. So probably wind this down when we get to the 3-hour mark. I did start a little bit late, so I want to make sure to give you a whole 3 hours. Mark says, be prepared. We're going to hear lots of that from MAGA candidates on 11/8. My election was stolen. Yep, they will. They will. They will. Clayton says that's a long stream. Yeah, it is kind of long for 3 hours, but it's not as long as some of the people that we watch, like Hal Sparks, who's gone a lot longer. In fact, he did an entire 24-hour stream last election, and he'll probably do it again. Dark Webster says this in chat. Good job, Mr. O. And definitely listen to Andrea. Please vote. Vote like your life depends on it, because it does. Your life, your freedom depends on voting. Benny Loco says, in regard to the thing that Mark said earlier, where they're going to try to say the election was stolen, she says, of course they will, and it's up to us to shut them down and hard. Trucker John is much more plain and to the point. Screw the maggots, let them cry. And I think Dark Webster is practicing his tongue twisters. Snitches and stitches with hitches and ditches. Mr. O. I like that, says Clayton. Andrea's got another one for us. Okay, this is a statement by Beto O'Rourke. So, oops, almost made it to myself. Okay, so we're going to Beto O'Rourke. Should you clip the interview from Stuttering John and put it on your channel? Maybe you should ask him about it. Maybe you should ask him about it. I mean, one would tend to believe that he wouldn't be upset by that, but it probably would be just good practice to just ask him about it. I have to say, sometimes when we play like these videos of TV stations on here, unless it's the debate that is basically public domain, even though they say, well, you have to have such and such approval to show this. I mean, the main thing I think is if you show a debate in its entirety, they should be happy that you didn't cut it up and misrepresent it. So they should be happy about that. But I often wonder, but I have so few viewers, I don't worry too much about showing content on my channel as long as it's not like copyrighted music or whatever.
That's why we're going to legalize marijuana in the state of Texas going forward. We're going to make sure that we don't put people behind bars for just being able to take care of themselves, and given the fact that disproportionately it has been Black and brown Texans who have served time, who have to check a box on every employment application form We're going to expunge the arrest records of everyone who has done time for marijuana possession in the state of Texas. That's why.
Okay, so if you couldn't hear him and you couldn't understand him, what he said is they're going to legalize marijuana. And he went on to say that it is disproportionate that the people that are often arrested for these crimes are often people of color and Hispanic. And he's going to make sure that that doesn't happen and that they are able to obtain marijuana for medical uses without being prosecuted for doing so. So, yeah, he's going to legalize marijuana if he becomes the governor of Texas. So, way to go, Beto. His voice is really rough, like he's really been talking. So, he has been campaigning a lot. I've been following him on social media, and I see his Facebooks pop up. So, yeah, he's out there. And even though I don't live in Texas, I've been following along just to make sure that, he has extra presence. One more, person out there that's looking at his channel. So. Can the governor of Texas really do that? Asked Stark Webster. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I guess it just depends. I think he's going to expunge arrest records. Yeah, so he's trying to look at, like, were they arrested for just having a little bit of marijuana that they weren't really trafficking, and just like expunge them from being arrested, for that. Because he's trying to take away the felony status. Make it a misdemeanor offense. Yeah, kind of like, expunge means arrest records are sealed forever, right? It takes it off their records, so somebody can't say, well, you were arrested for this. So, haven't quite gotten to the 3-hour mark. I'm getting close to it. But this is the part of the show where I get tired. So if y'all have any final thoughts, express them now, because I'm going to pull the plug on this shortly and go to bed. Yeah, I agree with this statement. Abbott is a showboater figurehead. Only power is the government behind him. Did I know there's a new Beetlejuice coming out? No. I don't know if that's so or not. Sorry, started to yawn. So Andrea reminds you to hit the like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Do all those things. One of these days we'll have a bigger following. It's good to see 12 of you out there. So 11 of you on YouTube and 1 on Twitch. So when am I live? I'm live every week at 6. Excuse me, I started to say 6. I don't know why. I'm live every week at 7 p.m. If I'm running late, it's 7:15 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 p.m. Pacific or 4:15 p.m. Pacific. So 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And I'm usually on within the first 15 minutes of that. The reason why I'm sometimes late is because I like get everything together and try to put out the notifications myself. So I need to like find like some kind of thing to automate that. And I should probably figure out how to do this thing that Benny Loca mentioned where I do the filters. Of course, it would help if I shaved my face off after the election too to make the filters work better. But let's see, where did I put that? I put it in the, I think I put it in my tweets where I came up with a name for my character. Would I consider doing more shows a week? Well, one of the things that I would have to sacrifice is that if I did more shows a week is I'd have to sacrifice my viewing habits. So I'd have to stop watching other people's shows because it would have to be always at the same time on work nights. And I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to get my other shows started up. So I'm trying to get my other shows started up, which will be about people that work for the space program, whether they work at Kennedy Space Center proper, Johnson, or one of those other NASA facilities, or if they work for a contractor, or if they work for somebody that makes the rockets, or the payloads, the satellites, or the hardware that gets the astronauts into space, the capsule. I have approximately 4 guests, which is really one interview. I have one that I'm trying to get first. I don't want to mention their name though, because I want to wait until they've actually committed. And then I have about 3 other guests that I've been trying to get a hold of. But you know, it's kind of interesting to try to get a hold of people, some of which, excuse me, who still work real time, full time in the space program. So it's kind of interesting to try to get them when they're not at work to talk to me about when they can come on. But this is the Sunday show. So if I do the other show, it would probably be on Friday or Saturday. It might sometimes be on a different day of the week. I think I did it on Thursday before. And Benny Loco says she would come on. So we'll see. Benny Loco, Andrea said that she wanted to book the guests, so you might want to run it by Andrea. But if she's leaving it up to me, then you can come on at any time. We'll see. But yeah, I need to do stuff. I think in a way I need Andrea to pass the link to you though, because she knows how to get to you. So let Andrea book you, Benny Loco, and she'll tell me when you're coming on. And that'll just make it easier because she knows how to get a DM to you, which I don't. So, yeah. I mean, we could have other people on. I just want to make sure it's people that are regulars and not somebody duping us that comes on that's Derek Webster, you're so funny. You should come on and sing for us. No, we won't book you last minute. Andrea will tell you when. So, yeah, and it would never be at the start of the show because that would be bad for your time zone. So it'd probably be in the last hour of the show because that would be more appealing. I don't know where he gets that stuff, Benny Loco. The only way you could be a witch is if you're Glenda Good Witch of the North. Trying to get Gonzo on. That would be interesting. You have videos? Just the 24 heads up, says Benny Loco. Yeah. Gonzo. Clayton, Gonzo is this guy that is been a big supporter of some of the podcasts that we watched. And he is also, did he actually win the race he was running, or did he just run for office? You guys have got to remind me, you guys and gals that know the answer to that. Okay. But the answer who Gonzo is, Clayton, Gonzo is this guy, and I don't know it. It's probably not his real name. It's probably a made-up name, but Gonzo was like this guy that had a business, and every time he donated to somebody's YouTube through super chats, it would say the name of his business when he donated. So he had two reasons for donating. One was to support the person doing the show, and the other one was to promote his business. So yeah, Your Name Death of the Friendly Ghost. That's a show that I really liked as a kid. I haven't seen Casper in a long time. Yes, he did win. Okay, that's good. So he won a council seat. Yes, a keto diet. Thank you, Dark Webster. I had forgotten what it was. I knew that it was something like that. It was Going Gonzo Keto Diet. Gonzo is a veteran and was badly injured. Okay. Oh, he lost his leg while serving his country. So his name is Vinny. Yeah, but he's you can't really stop him because he was also seen on a podcast too. He's not bitter about losing his leg. He's very very energetic, very, very patriotic, very charismatic. Are you taking out the trash, Andrea? Embezzler says Gondo is why I found Stuttering John, which in turn led me to Andy Rubauer, Benny Loco, and the great Kenneth Otto. Oh, you're too kind, Embezzler. I just try to do my best. I try to give people something to watch on a Sunday night. Clayton says, I imagine it's hard having to use a prosthesis. I'm lucky not to know the answer to that, Clayton, but I was told by somebody who did use one that I didn't want one because I do have a problem with my left foot. And I once said that the pain was bad enough that I wish it was gone. And the person that I was in diabetes class with said, no, you don't want that. He said, no, you don't want to lose your foot because the pain that you feel in your foot due to diabetes would be a lot worse if you didn't have anything to rub or make it feel better. So we've gone past the 3-hour mark. So I don't know, I'm not sure what that is. And I'm so sorry about this outcome. Benny Loco says, my husband's new prosthetic twisted and he fell and cracked his hip. There's a big learning curve. Yeah, this is what Clayton had to say. Diabetes is a real scary thing. I try to avoid most sugars because of it. I encounter children who see me using a walker and they ask what my walker is, and I tell them to stay in good shape and healthy, and they'll never have to really know what it is used for. Yeah, it is. Benny Loco says diabetes is a gateway disease. Yep, if you let it go too far, other things happen. You lose your eyesight, your hearing. You can have more problems with your teeth. You lose your feet and so forth. It always affects the things farthest from your heart the most. Okay, I think the chat is winding down too. Uh-oh, you got a leaky fridge. That's not good. So, folks, I think your chat is kind of winding down. I'm going to take this occasion to wind down the show and say goodnight. And we'll meet again here next week at the same time, roughly. Might get on at the top of the hour instead of being 15 minutes late. I really try to. But tonight, I just needed those extra 15 minutes to bring everything up. And we'll see you all next week. Be sure to like, subscribe, and bring your topics. Okay? And if you're going to do something for the Halloween tomorrow night, and that involves you drinking. By all means, if you've been drinking too much, get a ride home, be safe. Don't run over the kiddies. And come back another day. Okay? Thank you so much for being here. Good night. Thanks to our mods. Okay, so thanks to Andrea, Benny Loco, and to Modstar. Thank you very much. Always good to have you here. Thank you very much to Andrea for all of her insight on what to air tonight. And Jim, if you come back and watch this later, because I think you're already gone. Thank you for your topic as well and your patience when I didn't quite know everything. So thank you all. We'll see you all again next week. I'll play the closing video.